Well, Linda, they say things come in threes.
I know. I was wondering who started that saying or phrase, and why and how.
That's right. That's right.
We're talking about people that have died just recently that were rather famous.
Well, I mentioned this morning that Lana found the article in the Roswell paper that Ralph Emery had died. He died on the 15th of January.
Okay.
Anybody that grew up watching Nashville Now on cable TV on the Nashville Network remembers Ralph Emery interviewing anybody and everyone that had anything to do with country music at the time. He hosted that show from 1983 to 93. And then later he did a show on RFD TV, which after the Nashville Network kind of became CMT and kind of went off in that direction, then RFD TV came about and brought back some of the interview-style shows and things with the country artists. And he did a show there on that program. So a lot of people called him the Johnny Carson of country television.
And if you don't know who Johnny Carson is, if you're not old enough, go look it up.
Yeah.
He was the, what do you want to say, most classic or
he's
late night host?
Yeah.
He was.
There's nobody like him.
No, and never will be.
Probably the closest to him, in my opinion, was Craig Ferguson. So maybe he was the closest.
Yeah.
Craig was the more. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Then I mentioned this morning Meatloaf. They announced Meatloaf had died.
That's not something you eat, y'all. Go look it up.
Well, it's
related to music.
he came from a religious family, and he felt that he didn't want to use his family's name in any way to break, because of his rock and roll style and the stuff that he did, and so that's why he came up with the stage name,
which
Meatloaf.
Is very, very unique and different.
It is.
Kind of unforgettable.
Yep. And then this just broke. Comedian Louis Anderson is dead. 68 years old. Anderson died in a hospital in Las Vegas of complications from cancer, according to his longtime publicist. He had a type of non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Schwartz had said previously. Glenn Schwartz is the spokesperson, publicist. Anderson won an Emmy in 2016 for Best Supporting Actor for his portrayal of Christine Baskett's mother of twins, played by Zach Galifianakis. Anderson received 3 consecutive Emmy nods for his performance. He was on TV, including host of the revival of the game show Family Feud from 1999 to 2002, comedy specials, and frequent late-night talk show appearances. So he is... So he has passed away. So that's 3.
That's 3. Maybe we're done for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good. Well, that's kind of sad. So we had a comedian, a country music broadcaster, and singer, movie guy. Meatloaf was in 65 movies. He was in a bunch of movies, too.
I realized, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that many, but yes.
Yeah.
I knew he had been.
Well, I remember him from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in Rocky Horror Picture Show. And a bunch of other movies, but...
And don't ask me what songs he had, but if I heard them, I would say, oh, yeah.
Well, probably his most famous album was Bat Out of Hell. And the most famous song from that album was Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
All right.
So...
Like I said, I know a lot of music, but I couldn't tell you who sang, performed, or whatever. You know, even a lot of the oldies.
Yeah.
When the music was really good. and I will hear it and I'll think, oh, that was so-and-so. Well, wrong. It was this other group, this other 4-guy group.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I was close, but...
Well, there's no mistaking Meatloaf's musical style. So he was pretty unique in that regard.
Yes.
Of course, he was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, and there was a TV show that was around for a few years called Glee.
Yes.
And in the TV show Glee, they were going to do Rocky Horror Picture Show. which brought about a bunch of controversy.
Oh, I bet.
And the two people that showed up at the school to try to convince the school not to do it were a couple of TV executives played by Barry Bostwick and Meatloaf, which was kind of an interesting twist on
Yes.
on that. So, but anyway, it's kind of sad to see that news.
Yeah.
Linda, you went to the candidate, the Meet the Mayors last
I
night.
thought, I don't care if it is cold out there. I'm going.
Yeah. Well, it was warm enough in the theater.
Yes, it was very pleasant. Had a decent crowd.
Yeah.
Not as many as you always hope for anything, because then people will want answers to questions they have, and perhaps if they had been there, they might have gotten answers, or at least a good impression on the candidates and how they might, I don't want to say run things, because the mayor doesn't run something, the council does. It's just like anything else. They're there basically to break a tie and give input.
Right.
So,
right.
But it was very good.
Well, and I think the mayors do have some influence on the agenda.
Yeah.
For example, one of the issues that came up was, pushing back against the governor.
Right.
And the council may want to do something like that, or certain members on the council may want to do that, but they're going to look to the mayor and say, because the mayor is going to be the one whose name is on
the take the flack. Yeah.
And so that's kind of interesting. So, but you're right. I mean, you wish there were more people that
you always do. There's no reason why you always can't pack an auditorium or the theater or whatever.
Yeah.
When you go to something at the high school, concert or whatever. I've been there when there's, the famous people have been there. Mm-hmm. And you think there's no excuse between Roswell, Carlsbad, and us, at least, why you cannot pack an auditorium.
Yeah.
I think people are just too lazy anymore. If you don't pay $100 a ticket, maybe it's not worth going. Well, if it's $50 a ticket, go, because that's a bargain.
Yeah.
It means somebody else may be kicking in money, and you don't have to pay $100 a ticket to go somewhere.
That's true.
Of course, the mayor was, obviously, the forum was free to all who wanted to attend.
Yeah.
And that's what it's for. And I'm sure there will be a council one at some point.
Haley and I talked about it. I don't think we're going to do a Ocotillo Forum for council candidates.
Okay.
Because there's 3, 4, 5, there's 7 between the 3 districts.
Yes.
There's 7 candidates. And then there's Raul, who's all by himself. He doesn't have any opposition. Right. So, I mean, there's 8 people total that'll be on the ballot for city council. So what we've talked about doing was making sure that we get the council candidates on the air here between now and then to do some one-on-ones, kind of like we did with the school board election. So I look forward to meeting. And a couple of those candidates were there at the forum last night. Some of the council candidates were there. So interesting to see how that goes. But
do you think there should be term limits?
No.
You think a city council person could serve from birth to death forever?
If that's what the voters want, yes.
Okay.
I'm kind of a constitutional traditionalist. The founding fathers didn't put term limits in. They said as long as they have the support of the people can vote them back in. When they no longer have the support of the people can vote them out. It was the Republicans that got the constitutional amendment going that limited the terms of the president, because how many elections did FDR win?
A few.
Yeah. What eventually happened to FDR?
Right now, I can't tell you.
He died.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
But do you think a Senate and House should have?
No. No.
So you're going to have Nancy Pelosi until she dies?
Well, that's one possibility. No, it's an interesting question, and I mean, there's pros and cons to both sides of it.
Well, if nobody has, like when Kennedy was in there,
right?
He literally was there until he was physically unable, like death.
You're talking about Ted Kennedy?
Yes.
Okay, not John F.
No, we're Senate and House right now.
Yeah, I got you.
when nobody has the nerve to run against them because they know they're not going to, Kennedys know where all the bones are buried.
That's true. This is an interesting discussion. Hold that thought. We'll come back on the other side of the news and talk more about this. No, because has the time come to do that? Yeah. We'll talk more on the other side. This is KSVP RT.